I'm Irvin, this is TJ Mills.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
This is another Irvin Music Studio Wednesday night, 8 p.m. live stream with all the technical issues included, but we'll see what goes on. I'm not sure if we're connected to Instagram yet or not, but we'll find out. So these live streams are just a pretty casual excuse to hang with a friend and chat for an hour and jam for an hour. And I'm still feeling out my my way as a host and as a broadcaster. It does look like our volume is happening. That's good. And
just so you know, Sam, no judgments here. I'm just here for the ride.
I know you're very accepting, and I appreciate that. Yeah. That's why you're a good friend, and you were a great choice to have as one of my first guests who wouldn't judge me for for what I got going on.
It's an honor, seriously.
Well, it's an honor to have you. We know each other through our time at Moog together. You still work at Moog. Mm-hmm. I was there for about 5 years, from 2015 to 20.
Yeah.
How long have you been there?
Been there for 12 years now. Started off on the production floor, and then became a team leader, and then became a supervisor. So.
That's right. Yeah. That's cool. So are you still sharing that role, or like do you have a particular instrument builds that you're looking over, or?
So we have 9 lines right now, and then there are 3 supervisors, and I am kind of the lookout for 3 of the lines. Sometimes they might be building Moog 1s, sometimes they might be building Clarivox, sometimes they might be building Grandmother, Matriarch, something like that, which is, usually there's about 6 people per line, 4 to 6 people per line, and depending on how much output we need from that line, we'll shift things around and stuff like that. So. Gotcha.
So with 3 lines, we're talking 12 to 18 people.
Close to, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Cool. So the lines are getting more flexible all the time, right?
Yeah. Sometimes, right now with what's going on with the supply chain, it's a little crazy sometimes. So.
Oh yeah.
You have to be able to pivot and make decisions on the fly. You can make a plan to do something, and then next thing you know, that plan is gone because either a piece of material didn't show up and you can't build anymore, or you run out of something. And yeah, it's a very difficult time right now. So, but it's still fun. I love building synthesizers. Yeah. I love building synthesizers. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love the mechanical aspect of it. I love if there's a challenge, I love solving those challenges, or at least getting the group involved and having their input, so that way we can actually come out with a good solution. It's really cool. I love it.
Did you bring any bombs with you so we could just sort of list it out for the viewers?
Oh yeah.
We got 4 screws, we got a few knobs.
Yeah, we could just. I think by memory I could probably list you off a few if you want me to.
As tempting as it is to challenge you, let's not go down that road.
All right, cool.
014 knobs.
Thanks for sparing me.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the part of the live stream where I double check to see if everything's working properly. So I can
use that clap as the
sound.
Yeah, the sound.
The sound speeds. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to just check YouTube and make sure that we can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
it's working.
It is working. That's good.
Yes.
All right.
Sam. High five, dude.
Thanks.
Good job.
It's coming together.
Good job.
This is already better than our last live stream.
Nice.
I'm going to try this this code once again that I was trying a moment ago to get to Insta, because it looks as though my Insta Live is still not working. So I'll talk to you a little bit about my setup while I'm doing this, because I feel like
and just streaming it through your phone right at that moment, so you have 2 streams going on.
We could get a third perspective.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because at that point in time, you would just be streaming straight to Instagram. They wouldn't be getting all the cuts and stuff like that. They would just be getting it from the phone.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I think I'm going to do that if I don't get this to work. Let's go ahead and pull it up.
Look at Look at how long
the
stream key is.
Oh, dude, I know, it's gobbledygook. And so I put that gobbledygook in this box, and hope this is entertaining for the viewer. Okay.
Come on. No, I'm saying I'm hoping that works. I'm hoping that works.
Yes,
I'm not like, right, yeah, I definitely don't want to rush you.
I was like, I'm trying,
adding
man.
all of this extra pressure on me. I would never do that. Come on.
Okay, it seems like it wants to connect. It's very gray. Oh, okay. Let's start that broadcast. Still says it's offline.
Cool.
So, cool. We'll give that a moment. I don't think Twitter's connecting either. But, the important ones to me are YouTube and Facebook, which do seem to be happening. YouTube saves them, for posterity.
That's cool.
Just sort of on the channel. Yeah. So I can look back after 10 or 20 and be like, oh my gosh, look at the struggle at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah.
Sam. I would refer to myself in the third person at that point.
I know that
Sam
about
was
you.
really trying to get it together.
And I'm always like, how is he doing? I know that you like it like that in the third person, so I don't say, how are you doing, Sam? I say, how is he doing?
And I'm like, why are you playing the pronoun game? Who's he? Who are you talking about? How's Sam doing?
How is Sam doing?
Oh, yeah, he's doing good. And then you're like, why are you playing the pronoun game? I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
We get lost very
And then we
quickly.
rocket feet out and...
Right. Yeah. And back into this live stream.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think the Insta worked, so why don't I just do live on your recommendation here, directly from the... Oh, wait.
Is it going? Is it trying?
It is trying.
It's trying.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll let that go. Although now I know that it's only giving us the, this is the first time I've looked at it live on Instagram, and we only get the very middle of it. So that is
the camera
too.
is, yeah, is there you gotta go into the settings and see if there's something in there.
Oh, you think so? Okay, yeah, on the, yeah, okay, this is good. This is really, we're eating up some time here. There don't seem to be any settings in this third party.
Yeah, I'd
thing.
say,
let's get back to the talking.
Let's get back to the talking.
All right, so we met at Moog. I worked on the one line as you were the team leader.
Yep.
Then.
Fun times.
Those were really fun times. We would giggle with last week's guest, Christian Striefler, who I bet is watching right now. Hello. I really did enjoy working at Moog with you.
Yeah, same.
And I miss that comfort of coming in at 8 o'clock and listening to audiobooks all day until I needed to be talked to, communicated with.
Yeah, just in case anyone doesn't know, Sam would wear his earbuds and listen to music and stuff like that, and then we would be trying to get his attention, and we couldn't get his attention. So there was this one time where about 4 or 5 different people all yelled Sam at the same time to get his attention. It was really awesome. It was a funny thing.
It was very startling. Yeah.
But we got your attention, and then as soon as you were like, "Whoa, what's going on?" We're like, "Hey, could you pass me those pliers right there?" It was just something really simple too.
It was really tiny. And then I immediately went back into, I didn't learn my lesson at all.
Volume up. Yep. Just right back to normal.
Probably listening to like Moby Dick or something. I was plowing through those audiobooks.
It's so fun to be able to listen to podcasts or music or books and whatnot. I've had so many jobs where I couldn't do that. And that's just one of the silver linings of being able to work in that kind of environment. Is being able to either be completely open and talking to everyone, or if you wanted to zone in on what you're doing and just have fun with that, it was cool.
Yeah, definitely. So if you want a job at Moog, reach out. It's like we're really advertising that. Although you chose not to bring a Moog piece of equipment today, but rather, can you tell me what you did bring? I'll zoom in on it while you...
Yeah, So I brought an Mpc-X. It's something that I've been wanting for a really long time, and I wasn't able to get it. And I have a friend that works with me at Moog, and his name's Billy. What's up, Billy Morasso? Check out his music. He's really awesome. He had one of these because he traded something for it, and he got into it. It didn't fit his style, and he asked me if I wanted it because I expressed that I was super interested in one of these. He ended up being so gracious as to let me basically use it and have it until I could pay him back. So that's just kind of like the another really cool thing about working in a place where you're friends with a bunch of people is you can have hookups like that. So I've been messing with Mpc-X for going on a year and some change now, and it's been very, very, very fun. So
that's cool. Well, here I turned on the sound. Do you want to give us a little taste of what you can do?
Yeah, so right now I have it set to the drum pads. You can do bass, you can do melodies, you can do drums, you can sample vocals, you can sample all kinds of things, records, whatever you want to. Akai is known for being just a very strong sampler in general, and a lot of artists, a lot of hip hop artists, and just artists in general, just have really, really grown because of Akai in general. So this is, it was Roger Lynn, it was one of the guys who really helped design some of the first Akai samplers and stuff.
Roger Lynn is like the Bob Moog of Akai.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Okay.
he's split off into he does instruments now, and he does his own thing. That's really cool.
Instruments is pretty a good name.
Yeah,
definitely.
it's nice. Yeah, check it out. But basically, they wanted to step away from having to use a DAW, and this is a DAW system where you can go in, you can record, sample, you can do everything from this hub, and you never have to touch a computer at all. It's set up for the bedroom producer, in my opinion. It's like the perfect everything. It has all of the CVs that you need. It has all the MIDI in and outs that you need. On the front of it, it has like all kinds of inputs and outputs. It even has like an 1/8 inch output. Like some people don't even want to put that on there, just because they're like, an 1/8 inch. You can always put an adapter, but that's just one of those really cool things. It's set up for
so you can
literally doing anything.
Yeah, that seems pretty flexible. So you could record a guitar or whatever into there. Any synthesizers. I didn't notice the inputs earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I love how they set it up where you don't have to you can do a lot of menu diving. It's a touch screen. You can do all kinds of stuff in the touch screen. It also has it to where it's the Q-Link, which is set up for whenever you do switch menus, this area basically changes with the menu setting, and any of these knobs will change a setting inside of there. So if you're a knob turner, that's really cool. If you like to get into the screen and do touch screen stuff, like it has that too. So it's a very versatile piece of equipment, and I'm very, very happy to have it. So
yeah, I'm stoked. I mean, when you were rocking it earlier, that was really cool. I'm still waiting on some. Oh, okay, getting some. Are there onboard effects?
There are onboard effects. There's also a Mellotron. So they have all kinds of packs, like sound packs that you can buy. They have all kinds of different drums, different instruments. They have all kinds of things that you can do. It even links up to Splice, which is a sampler. It's like a sampling program, or it's a website. You sign up for a monthly subscription, and then you get these tokens, and you get like 100 tokens per month, depending on what you pay, and then you can spend those tokens on samples, and most of the samples cost like 1 token. So you can load up, like in 1 month, you can load up on like vocal samples, drums, whatever. So if you really wanted to go into Splice and just take advantage of what they have going on, you could start off with your drums. You could and then next go to like some bass stuff and some different kind of like percussion samples, do all kinds of things, and then build your Splice library, and then you can stop paying but just still be a member, and then use all the ones that you paid for, or just download them onto an SD card and you're good to go.
That's awesome. Yeah, those libraries are crazy these days. Like Storyblocks, I think, is one with video.
Yeah.
You know, little video shorts. It's like everything you could ever possibly want is on, you know, already out there. It's like, why am I creating anything? You know?
You know, speaking to that, it's cool sometimes to have a sound already there, but then it's also really cool to like design your own sound. You know, that's like unique to your style or unique to, you know, what kind of genre you're going for, or if you want the kick drum, you know, you like what the sample of the kick drum, you like the original sound of it, but you want it to be a little shorter and a little bit more punchy. You know, so you can kind of either like do like positive synthesis or negative synthesis, you know, additive or subtractive synthesis, whether you add something or take something away. Like same with editing, same with all that stuff too. So it's really nice to start out with the sound, but then if you can create the sound from nothing, there's a whole unique experience too that makes you feel different whenever you're like, no one's ever heard this before, you know?
Yeah,
So.
I gotta agree with you. I mean, Moog is that, like, you can't replicate the analog sounds. I mean, with the one, we've got presets at this point. I guess there were some presets on a few of the instruments.
Yeah.
But they're sort of geared towards making your own sound. And since I worked at Moog, those are the only synthesizers that I have.
Yeah.
So I've been stuck in that world of, like, having to design my own sound the whole time. I don't have a sampler or have experienced or experimented with any samples whatsoever, so I'm a total layman. I love hearing about it. It's
fun.
And experiencing it right now.
Yeah.
I've got like a loop pedal, which is close. It's like live sampling in a way.
Is it a ditto? What is it?
It's that head rush down there on the board, on the floor.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's big.
It's gigantic. Yeah.
Do you like it?
I love it. Yeah, it acts as like a 4-channel mixer too. So there are 4 individual inputs, which you can use simultaneously or by themselves, you know, mixed into each track, each of the 4 tracks that you're recording.
Yeah.
So I can use it for like my guitar and a synth and my trumpet and like a shaker maybe or something. I don't know, something like that. But I never like save the samples and whip them out like, you know, for a recording or whatever.
You should start building a library and just have all these sounds in there from things that like unique sounds that you get around. Like, you have a field recorder?
No, I should though. Yeah, I've got the Zoom Q2Ns, which is what we're being looked at on right now.
And it has a microphone in it too.
Yeah, those mics seem to be pretty good.
I have an H6 if you want to borrow it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Get some nature samples.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, I know this sounds ridiculous. There comes a time whenever just taking a piece of rubber or something and hitting it on a tree, it makes a unique, different sound. I know that sounds crazy.
No, but I've got some songs like of crumpling paper or whatever, like jumbling paper clips.
When you start to isolate the sound, so you get into a quiet area and then you can isolate a sound, it's kind of amazing what you can do with it after that. You can start to sculpt it. You can start to add like reverb to it, delay, and just kind of like turn it into whatever you want, you know. And next thing you know, you started off with just like, you know, flicking a lighter or striking a match or something like that, or scooting a table across the floor or something like that, where you have a, you know, some bassy tones in there.
That'd be sweet kick drum.
Yeah. Yeah. You could literally turn any sound into melody, bass line, any percussion sound that you really want to now with Ableton and all the programs.
Yeah. Have you messed with any of those like micro loopers, like the Blooper or the Mood? I forget what the Mood one's called, and I forget what the company is that does those, but they are so neat. I think next week Paul Gata, who you know from Moog as well, he runs the Moog store, is coming. He's coming for next week's live stream, but I went to his place recently with my trumpet. He was like, let's lay down some trumpet tracks. I really want to get some trumpet, like I guess in his sort of library of sound. I was like, okay. I was expecting to like play some lines or something.
But you just went...
It was almost like, like, just play a couple of notes. So I'd be like, burr, burr, burr. He'd be like, okay, I got it. You know, like through his whole system, it would just turn into like this weird like soundscape of not anything close to a trumpet sound.
Yeah. When you start
It
to
was fun,
manipulate that aspect of it, it gets really interesting. I love that
Yeah.
so much.
The blooper, he's explaining it to me, gets that sample, the little loop, and then creates little tiny delays, multiple little tiny delays that interact with each other
trail
polyrhythmically.
Off
Yeah.
that's
And
cool.
and you sort of scan through the loop, making different parts of it delay at
Wow.
different speeds.
I like that. That's really neat.
It's really weird. But let's get back to this. Can I have you play a few more sounds? I'm not sure if it was loud enough to hear a moment ago.
Yeah, I could not hear it either. So that's why I was like, oh, I think I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, let's see if we can get that. I see.
Right now, I just basically went into you can go into the sample side of it and go through a list of sounds and pick the sound that you want, and then you can kind of manipulate it from there. I usually just start off with some standard sounds. Since I play with my right hand whenever it comes to kick and snare, I'll usually set up this little grouping of 4 right here into like the lower kick kind of stuff, or something just to create a little bit of nuance, and then just a kind of a standard kick. Sometimes I'll find a kick that's just like super punchy, and then I'll find a kick that has a little bit of a drift, and it kind of has some more sustain to it.
Yeah.
And then it maybe even has like a tone to it. And then with my left side, I'll do like rim shots and then different snares. So that way, if I want to write 3 different drum beats in the same session, I've already got all of my stuff there. So like sometimes just changing the mood can be using a different kick and with a different snare.
Yeah, you listed the 4 kicks. Do you have multiple snares there as well?
Yeah, so it's like so imagine if that really short kick, that's like one of the snares that I picked. So you can something like that, or you can use and then go to a different snare using the same kick.
Yeah, that's nice.
Or and now let's go to a different kick. That one, it's very similar, so I like to have it to where you can use both of the kicks too at the same time to kind of give just a slight variance between the two, to where it's not too much, it's just super subtle,
Yeah. It can sort of imitate a double kick drum, where they do sound slightly off.
Yeah, depending on what you're trying to do, the subtleties, I think, come with the sounds that you pick. Like how subtle do you want it to be? Do you want it to be a little bit over the top or whatever? Or do you want it to be like some of the sounds, you want the cutoff filter to be open, it to be really, really wide, and you want it to hear all of the frequencies, and some of them with that snare versus that snare, it's a pretty harsh difference, right?
Yeah.
But whenever you switch from one part of your song to another, it's kind of nice to have that variance,
Yeah, especially if one part of the song is busier and you need a snare that's going to cut through more.
Yeah.
When you start thinking on that pragmatic level of like what's necessary here.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's like a thumping bass line, so really the kick drum's kind of taking a back seat. You might want something more subtle.
Totally. And then same with the cymbals. Since I play most of my cymbal, you can really do cymbals anywhere, but I've chosen the top right. So you can have variance in your sound without having to. So let's say, for example, you started off and you're just recording. You just want to just tap in some cymbals. instead of just using one pad and doing that variance, it's a little bit easier whenever you're playing. If you're into finger drumming and stuff like that, it's a little bit easier to mess around. You can get some really cool rhythms going and get some arpeggiations and whatnot. But that, for me, changes it up to where I don't have to go in on the back end and then slightly, subtly change every sound that I've made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that gets boring and old. And so I've found a way to just...
I know, you can use LFOs and stuff, but
yeah,
then it sounds a little manufactured and less organic.
Totally.
Yeah. I think that's pretty cool, and it's very hip-hop, too, to get the hi-hat, you know, like 5 different hi-hats all sort of jumbled up together.
Next thing you know, you're putting delay or reverb on one or two of them, so it just like really fills out the whole entire... you can do so much with it. It's great.
Can you give us a taste of a delay or any of the effects?
Yeah, I can.
Going on in there?
I could get something going like. So I just kind of pre-recorded just a cymbal track here. You can go into. Let's see here. So they have an effects section where you can do multiple effects. You can basically take control and do the effects yourself if you want. And then you can pick what kind of effect you want, whether it is... I usually like to go... You got a phaser, you got some flanger.
Oh, that interactive component, that is pretty amazing.
Being able to choose how fast you want it to go, how much, the division on each end. So on this one, on the divisions, it's got resonance and then beat division on the flanger, but then delay.
Nice.
So there's ways that you can just mess around with it on your own, or you can make each individual sound. So let's say right now all of these squares right here represent these squares right here. So you can see that the top right is firing right now. I don't know, some of you might be able to see that.
I think it's coming through.
That's the high cymbal. That's like that hi-hat that you're hearing right there. You can pick the hi-hat. You just hit the square on the actual screen, and then you can go to an insert. You can pick different delays, or you can pick different like an auto pan here, which I always like to do auto pan, which
absolutely
it brings it back and forth. So let's just go ahead and select that. There's also another slot where, let's go back here. On the insert, I have 4 different choices. If I hit the insert from the first one, the auto pan is on there. But if I'm on that second insert, there's nothing there yet. So I just need to add something. So if I wanted to do, let's say I wanted to do delay, how we did earlier.
That auto pan, not to get too far, I don't know who could be watching this now or in the future, the auto pan is taking it from the left channel to the right channel. So if you're not hearing anything on your cell phone, that's probably why.
Right, yeah. You don't get a full stereo sound,
yeah. Headphones only, y'all.
So I just put delay on there.
That's nice. We're still getting a very quiet sound over here, but
let me
pump it.
So I'm gonna go back to the home screen so that way I can put
I'm gonna double check. because our microphone is now also picking up the speakers, so let's make sure that we are still audible. We can hear you. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's working. It is working. That's good. The trumpet sound.
Say right now, all of.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
If you, so basically, whenever we start to jam or whatever, I'm going to use the metronome one time to get, because I like to play in real time instead of sequence it. So what I'll do whenever we record or when we play, I'll just do the metronome one go around. I have 8 bars, so it'll be a longer, more interesting beat. You know what I mean? So that way there might be some changeovers or whatever that we can use. That way we don't have to like do one part and do like a part A, part B, part C. We can just kind of do it all in one go, you know, because all I have to do is mute certain sounds and let other sounds take over the beat. So I can literally write 3 different beats in this one go around and just mute them and pull them out and pull them back in whenever I want to.
Yeah,
It's an easy way to approach like your flow. Like if you want to have a flow where you're putting bass lines, melodies, and beats together all in the same go around, I think setting up the drums this way for me has made like the most progress. So it's really cool.
That is cool. Man, this thing is super cool. I'm fascinated. I mean, we're already like 30 minutes in and I'm like, it flew by. I'm just like, what can this thing do? What can this thing not do?
Yes.
I guess that's the question.
Well, there's also, I didn't really go into anything about what all it can actually do, which some of my favorite stuff is the instrument side of it. Something like that. It's basically got a built-in mellotron. You can be boring and watch just this screen, or you can go to the other screen and you can actually get a version of the mellotron right there in front of you, and you can literally either touch the screen here, or you have controllers over here on the left-hand side to change everything. So if you're a knob type of person where you want to like twist the knobs and do all that, you have all of that, or you can literally just do this. It's so beautiful.
It is. Those are some sweet tones. So what's determining the pitches? Is it just the major scale setup, or how do you have you programmed it the way you like it with like a pentatonic scale or something?
Yes, you can go into the pad performance and you can choose what scale you want. You know, right now it's set in a major, whatever. Yeah, usually. So yeah, you can go into this screen. You can also do. You can set up as progressions. It's amazing.
And you can set up the loops. You can set up that drum loop you were talking about, and then start rocking this stuff.
That's what we're gonna do.
All right,
nice. Yeah, we're gonna
exciting.
get into it. And by the end of this, we're gonna have a whole song, I think.
Yeah, well, I can definitely. We'll record it on Pro Tools. I mean, that's what we're using for your clock.
Well, I mean, for the viewers.
For the
viewers, we'll have a whole well-rounded song.
Oh yes,
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure an experience will be had.
Yeah. There's something. If we have a little bit more time to chat, I don't know how long.
We got 20 more minutes.
All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
to chat.
Yeah. Remember Rosser?
Yeah.
From
Douglas.
Rosser Douglas.
Shout out.
Shout out to R-Day.
What a good dude. Yeah. Fellow Comedy Bang Bang fan.
And then your last guest's older brother, Andrew Striefler.
Yes. Okay.
So we all work at Moog together, and you know all of us have actually been working there for a pretty long time, so we've gotten to know each other, and we've made some music together. And Rosser and I ended up kind of coming. I think this is a cool idea. We've been vibing on it for a minute. Whenever it comes to just in general how we like to write music, or just break the shell or break the ice of just trying to get going. Sometimes that is the biggest hurdle.
Totally.
It's just getting going.
Exhibit A, the beginning of this live stream.
Good one, dude. Yeah. All right. So,
Go ahead.
we were tired of. Rosser is an amazing musician, like well-rounded, and I'm pretty mediocre whenever it comes to that. But playing with Rosser has opened up a whole lot of whole new avenues of just how I approach music now in general, and just playing with people like Rosser who I personally think are better than me for sure, have made me a better musician. I never went to school for it. It was just something that I took up whenever I was like maybe 8 or 9 and just really liked it and just got into it. And I didn't care about learning notes or learning, scales or any of that stuff, but I'm not trying to promote that. I would say always get that knowledge in there. Get that. I would say go to school. If your music is your passion, go and do that, because I can't look at and read a sheet of music. I'm being vulnerable right now.
It's okay. No, you're not alone.
I will say, and coming up with a way to write music with someone that you really vibe with, and with no judgments. Sometimes people don't want to play with other people because they might feel embarrassed. Sometimes people don't want to play with other people because they don't feel like that they're good enough. They might not have the embarrassment, but they're just like, I'm just not that good, And I would say never feel that way. Always be going out there and wanting to play with other people to get better. So
it is music. We were talking about this last week. Music is like a microcosm of like in the human condition, you're always getting better. You always are striving and becoming. And when you stop wanting to be better, usually something's wrong and you're about to hit a hard time, right? And music, the fun thing about it is wanting to be better. So it's funny. I think a lot of people interpret that of it's competition or something to want to be better, or you gotta be good. I gotta be good to be music. Exactly like you're saying.
Trying to always show off for everybody. You're like, what is that?
Settle down.
Settle down. Yeah, exactly.
I'd say, I completely agree with you that you don't even have to don't worry about being good to play with other people. And definitely you will get better if you're playing with people who are better with you. But also, you've got something to offer. If you could just keep it simple and listen and be part of the group, it can be fun, more fun for everybody, including the people who are better than you.
You have to break your nervous barrier, and you have to be humble. I know that's not something that's just that you're born with, trying to be humble.
Oh, yes, I'll be humble now.
Yes, yeah.
Why didn't you say that earlier?
No, I know I'm not that good, but I'm still going to play with you, and I love it. It's that's, so you have to break the ice with yourself first to even do it, you know what I mean? To even want to go out there and say, I'm playing with people that are way better than I am. But I think it's all about feeling. If you can get in there and basically it's the conversation, it's talking, like you said, listening, and if you're there and you're not comfortable, just sit and listen for a little while and just wait and see, because I guarantee you that moment whenever a little bit of a riff or a little bit of something else will hit you, or a bass line will hit you, and then you're like, oh wow, I wasn't hearing that earlier, and then you can try to find it and then play it. That's what I always do, is just try to hear what's going on in my head, and then try to pull it out and play it in real time.
Yeah, so this new situation with Rosser and Andrew gives you sort of a chance to do that? Is there an organization component or a strategy that's facilitating that?
It's strange, because we've kind of in the beginning, Rosser and I kind of created a stipulation where it was we're going to take 3 hours, and I would usually go over to his house, and then we would set up our gear, and within that 3 hours we would create something from the beginning to the end, and then we would deconstruct it. So it was basically just adding sounds as we would go. So I would usually start off with like a drum beat, and then I would move on to like a melody, and same with Rosser. Rosser would be moving on to like a bass line, or trying to find out a chord progression for something, just based on what I was playing. We didn't talk about it. We didn't say what key we're going to play in. We didn't even mention any of that. We just kind of went forward. So next thing you know, you have a really cool beat going on. You have a melody that's there that no one's playing because we recorded it, or we not recorded it in real time, but looped it because we had a looper. And I could loop all my stuff with the bass line, melody, and the drum machine because I would use the Electron. I had the Electron keys and then the Electron rhythm. So, and that's how it's pronounced. It's rhythm. If you look on it, it says RYTM. Yeah, it says Electron Rhythm, and because it's a different company, it's from.
Let me ask you about that. So I was just disappointed to find out that. So I had this picture in my mind about setting up a loop. Like, I have this guitar part. I will play the guitar part. Boom, loop it. Now I'm gonna use the tempo from my guitar part to rock the sequencer and create a synth bass on my grandmother that's in tempo with the guitar part. Yeah. Turns out that's impossible.
Unless you're insanely good with time and you just know what is going on. You know how some people are like pitch perfect?
Yeah.
There are people that are like human metronomes.
I've watched Zach Downs tap tempo.
Forget about it.
Like, I think it was on the grandmother with a drum machine, and they synced. Yeah. And I've never seen that happen before. It was insane.
You can totally do that. 100%. Yeah. On the rhythm and the Electron keys, I would turn off like quantize, and I would just live play it.
And they wouldn't diverge?
Obviously MIDI was hooked up, so they're already in sync, but my playing ability was still based on how accurate I was.
Gotcha.
That was one of the practicing moments for me whenever I got better at finger drumming, is whenever I stopped using quantize.
You gotta stop using quantize.
If you want to get better at finger drumming and you want to get better at rhythm, for sure, turn off your quantize. Try it for a month. See what kind of beats you make.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Just see what can happen.
So with the Electrons, you guys are using you said that you would loop a melody. You would already have a tempo going, and your MIDI out from your rhythm would be what the melody's looped on.
Yeah, well, with Rosser, he's always into different timings, and he's he can get into 4/4. He can get into literally any kind of like rhythm, any timing that you want. So we would mix it up, and half the time we were making stuff with 5/4. That's a really fun timing to just learn, to like get good at. Like, if you can get good at 5/4, you can then start branching off into like broader stuff. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
It's much better to start with than 5/8 because there's a lot more time to count.
Yeah.
A little slower. And just think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right.
I mean, there is different ways to really turn that rhythm back on its head and make it sound super cool. So
absolutely, yeah.
We'd dabble into that, and we'd give ourselves 3 hours. We would say we're gonna do rhythm, melody, bass, and then arpeggiation, other stuff, and we would get all that stuff going, and then we wouldn't record it, but then we would kind of listen to it and then start to deconstruct it. I would start to mute things, pull things in and out, start to mess around with, like, maybe do some automation on some of like the opening the filter on some stuff, and
totally,
because they have parameter locking where you could literally take any one of those nodules that you're doing the sequence with, and then you could apply 11 different parameter shifts to that one sound, which is insane.
Okay.
So it got really, really cool. So you could start off with this bland kind of normal, straightforward, like beat or bass line or whatever, and then you could just kind of turn it into this amazing thing with just adding a little bit of delay here and there, or just whatever
it's got to be so subtle, but it really brings everything to life when you are adding those effects. I feel like a lot of people think of effects and they think you're blowing you hit the delay and it's like but really it's just it creates like a more organic feeling, because a lot of those parameters, I mean, you can lock in LFOs.
Yeah.
I guess you could go either way, whether you're using the clock or not. But if you're not using the clock, it's a great way to not have everything just so locked in and mechanical.
Yeah. Talking about taste over talent. Have you heard that? That kind of thing. Like,
oh, I haven't heard. I'm gonna use that though.
If you haven't gotten to the point where you've practiced so much where you can just be like blow someone's mind with how good you are or how fast you can play or that kind of stuff. A lot of people are really into that stuff, especially when you're first starting to play music and whatnot. You can kind of get really, really involved in that kind of thing. Where like, I found someone that I really like their style. Now I'm going to try to play like them and whatnot. I always went on a different direction of trying to be unique, and like just like instead of focusing more on like getting super fast at a riff. I mean, obviously I can if I wanted to. Like whenever it comes like practicing, I have the discipline to practice and get to that point. But I was more focused on like taste. What's the key change, or what chord are you going to go to next, or at least that's what I was drawn to in other music, and that's what helped me understand you don't have to be this insanely fast or really crazy player. You can kind of lean back on your taste, and that can take you a long way.
Yeah, definitely. I think you used the word it's drawn to, and I lit up because I think even it comes down to what you're drawn to, like to practicing. I gotta believe if somebody makes it to like 30, 35, 40 and they're shredders, they must just enjoy sitting in a room by themselves and
playing,
like going to it. But I think other people enjoy the act of experimentation and spending time finding those unique sounds.
Yes.
And that's a practice in its own right. You're committing, you're spending time, and, whether it's in increments of 3 hours with Rosser or by yourself, just sort of like, what does this do? What does that do? What does this knob do? Does this work? Why isn't this doing anything? Oh, I didn't plug that in. I think it is not necessarily mutually exclusive. Like that's a practice too.
Well, going back to the process, that's actually what we called it too. We were maybe even thinking about like doing a name called just Process.
That's sick. Process. I was gonna ask if you guys have a name, and also I was confused. Is it you and Ross are doing these 3-hour things, and then where is Andrew coming in?
Yeah, so that's a little bit further into the story.
Pardon me, I won't rush you.
Sit back, young man. Let me finish my story.
We do have 8 minutes.
All right, I'll wrap this up.
All right.
It's gonna be a nice little candy bar at the end. So going back to like we're almost done with like next thing you know, you got all of these things going on. You start to deconstruct it. You start to really find these avenues of where certain things sound really cool together. You're unmuting something or muting something, and you're like, oh crap, that sounds really good together. Just these two parts together sound amazing. So like you'd work something off there and you go, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll start off with these two things coming in together, and then you'll bring in the beat, and then we'll bring in the bass line at this point, and just kind of like talk it through, and then give ourselves a time frame. We would set our times on our phone, be like 4 minutes, and then we would take all the things that we had set up previously. He would use his Tascam 4-track recorder. And then we would record us going through that one go and hitting record, and then just like bringing all of the unmuted stuff in, like everything's going and playing,
right?
But you're just like either bringing it in with
Sequences
volume, start triggering, like and then stopping things and stuff like that. Just like, but you're doing it in real time, and the next thing you know, you're basically writing a song in real time, like you're performing it, and then at the end of it we would just kind of put some like tape delay on it or something and make it sound real cool, and it's got this really, really, really lo-fi sound to it because there's these really hard cuts into stuff and whatnot. And
yeah. Oh, that's cool. I didn't consider that. I was going to ask, is there a particular benefit to using the 4-track as opposed to just running all of this into a DAW?
Yeah, because at the end of the 4-track, at the end of the tape, you realize that you've created 40-something minutes of music, and then you get to go back and listen to it. And then you go, it's all recorded onto this one tape.
Oh, it's a little tape.
It's a tape cassette,
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha, that is cool.
Yeah, and dude, that changed the way I've approached music 100%. Just because applying any kind of regimen or applying any kind of, unique approach to how you're going to start something off, or, if you just decide to never go linear with it, like, I'm going to do drums, I'm going to do bass, I'm going to do guitar, that kind of thing. You can kind of open up some avenues that are just mind-blowing when it comes to creating the music itself.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really cool process, and I do like the name process.
Yeah.
Go for that. Yeah. So you guys don't have anything up or, like, out? Like, how would this also translate into a live context? Do you know? Or would the process just be a recording sort of thing?
It's a studio project. It's kind of like a one and done kind of thing. At least that was, We never had any intention of playing any of that stuff live. We talked about it and we're like, how could we do it, unless we just saved everything the way it was and tried to do it exactly that way again. We could do it that way, but it just didn't make as much sense. And it was this unique gift that we gave to each other, you know what I mean? In this really cool way. It's like,
that's nice. We
made this together, and then this is where Andrew kind of comes into play. We stopped doing process for a while, just some, life stuff. We're still hanging out and doing whatever, but we just kind of like, wait, we had a whole album basically that we created, and we would just kind of listen to it back and forth here and there. I showed it to a few people, and like some of my friends were super, super into it just because of how lo-fi and how cool, like how different it was. And then we decided to make music on a broader scale, and instead of using the process completely, we applied the process to it, but instead of using...
It's very Moog,
yeah.
I feel like, as well. Gonna manufacture this music.
It's just a way to... For me, there was no judgment. We never picked like a timing, or like a time signature. We never picked a key. We never did anything like that. It was all just improvisation from the cuff, from that moment. And what the real process was just moving forward. So if you're ever getting to that point where you feel stuck and you're like, I got writer's block, that doesn't exist in real life. Writer's block does not exist in real life.
Yeah, only artists' blocks.
I mean, you're blocking yourself, really. I mean, I don't want to sound... Yeah, you're right. I don't want to sound like arrogant or anything, but I used to 100%, especially when it came to physical art, just like, I would get to a point where, like, I just don't know what to do with it anymore.
Yeah.
And then same with music. Get to the point where I'm like, I just don't know what to do with it anymore.
Sometimes that means you're done.
Sometimes that means you're done.
Yeah.
Sometimes that means you got to give it some space. Sometimes that means you got to do a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Listen to something different. Go on a walk. Do whatever. Like, if you're in your room and you're on the grind, give yourself breaks. You know what I mean? You gotta do that. It's so important to, like, tear yourself away from it and then reapproach it from a different perspective. You know, that helps a lot. It's just, for me, it's a cool method to use.
Totally. I interrupted you as you said how Andrew Striefler comes into it.
Oh, no, yeah. Andrew Striefler, we wanted to bring someone else into it because he had mentioned that he wanted to play music, and he knew that we were doing a project and just having fun. There was no pressure. We never once said that we wanted to make an album or do anything. We kind of just did it because we're really good friends, and it was a good excuse to get up and hang out, and also kind of like practice your music muscles and learn how to adapt on the fly. Because when you have a time restraint and you're trying to make music, instead of me spending 2 hours on trying to figure out how a drums kick sounds, you know what I mean, a kick drum, it's like...
Yeah, that's what you gotta do at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just pick the sounds that are close enough, move forward. It taught me how to move forward if I was ever feeling stuck.
Yeah, close enough is so valuable.
Yeah.
Perfect is the enemy of great, or like good enough is the friend of pretty good.
Yeah. No, it's perfection is expected, but excellence is tolerated.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, nice. Well, what a great place to pause for a moment. We'll be right back with some jams. we'll just quickly say that we're back. Okay, so we are back, and I'm gonna position everything sort of slightly over here. I'm not. You can wave at that camera, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what I'll be playing yet. This always just sort of has the camera on me as I'm playing, but it would be so much more interesting if I had it like actually looking at the stuff.
These too?
Yeah, these will be.
People could go back and like watch them if they wanted to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we can record better audio through Pro Tools. So, do you want me to do that in addition to our jam?
Say that again.
I can record better quality audio through Pro Tools, probably. Do you want me to do that alongside?
If you want
what
to.
we're doing? Yeah, why not? Oh, but I have to stop the clock. Is that going to be okay?
Can I still...
Well, only for a moment.
If I'm recording and hitting play, like, will I still get my metronome?
You will in a moment. Like, so I'm going to stop it just for a second so I can hit play on the recording. Yeah. Sorry about that. All right, this is part of... Oh, okay. So I see what's happening. Okay. Usually I would record into those inputs, but because of OBX only accepting the first two inputs, I have a different mix going on over here.
I see.
Sorry about that. Okay.
No, it's okay. I had quick reaction.
Okay. I'm gonna destroy my beautiful new focals. Okay, let's try this.
Dude, they'd be able to handle that shit.
I know, yeah, I hope so. Okay, great.
Yeah, because you started me.
Yeah, so we have begun.
Yep.
Let's make sure that that sound is coming out on OBX. It looks pretty good to me. Why are we getting two of them though? Is that like click track coming from you?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I'm only going to use it for the first recording.
Yeah, that's A-okay. I was just like, I wondered if I needed to shut something off. Okay. Alright, no more voice. Bye, everybody. Okay, we have sound again. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Sam Irvin, and this is TJ Mills.
Hey.
We just jammed, and before that we chatted for a while. So, you know, I'm holding true to my live stream promises. All right, I'll be back next week, and hopefully you'll be back sometime.
Definitely, I would love to come back.
Excellent. I'd love to have you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, and thanks, everybody. Goodbye.